off. But anyways, so let's go ahead and get started. This is my profile. I'm going to walk you through LinkedIn. If you haven't used LinkedIn before, then it's all going to be new to you. If you're using LinkedIn, I hope you pause for a second and just hear my recommendations around your name, your photo, and your headline. And right here, right, you can see my face is I'll zoom in a little bit. That's my photo. Right below that is my name, and right below that is my headline. Those are the three things I want to talk about. And they're the most important thing to talk about from a LinkedIn perspective, because they're generally the only thing other people see as they're looking at LinkedIn and deciding whether they want to come to your profile to see more. And I'll show you context around that. So the first thing about your photo, and really the only thing, I'm not trying to be some photographer expert advisor here, but just the biggest thing is make sure your photo is visible to everybody. And it doesn't matter whether they're first connections or not connections at all. LinkedIn is just a networking environment, right? So it's just a place where other people can possibly network with you. It's totally up to you on whether you connect with me if I want to. And it's totally up to you to block me and say, I never want to see you. You don't have that capability when you go to a big event with a couple of hundred people or a couple thousand people. You can't stop that person where you're like, oh, I don't want them to even be near me. But on LinkedIn, you can absolutely do that. Go, I don't like that person. They're blocked. But your photo, you want to make sure it's visible because people want to see who they're looking at. So my first tip as it relates to the photo is make sure it's, a picture is visible to everybody. The second thing is make sure it's a professional photo of you. And when I say professional, I really mean a pretty basic tip. Don't let it be a 10-year-old picture, right? A picture from 10 years ago where, I look like I don't have gray hair or something. It's like, wait a minute, Neil, you look 10, 20 years younger. Make it kind of a current picture. And the reason I'm saying this is because if we happen to meet in person, you want to make it easy for the other person to go, that's Neil. I recognize him. So when I see Tim online and I see him on LinkedIn, I go, oh, that's his picture. And then I see him at an event like GovCon last month. Then I can walk right up to a booth and say, Tim, I recognize you from your picture. The other thing is you want it to have, the basic professional look that I've got, right? A good photographer will probably tell me I should get rid of all those sticky notes behind, but that's just me wanting to show off the fact that that's how I do my day-to-day as managed tasks or whatever. But at least it's a clean photo. I dressed up for the part. I'm not trying to over commit here. I'm not trying to be in glamour shots, and you don't need to either. This is not a dating site. It's a professional image, and that's all you need. And you can take it with a cell phone, right? Excuse me. You can have a friend, just take a good picture of you to be able to put up there. But having a good professional picture draws people in. They're like, and most importantly, this person looks friendly, engaging. I could approach this guy here and talk to them. And then the third thing is, when you're thinking about your photo, and thanks, Gus, for giving me a heads up that the screen's sharing. When you switch to your photo, the third thing about the photo here is that some people, and so you want to check to see if you're doing this, don't put a picture of themselves, but they put a picture of the GovCon Chamber of Commerce logo in there. And that's not what LinkedIn is about. People are coming to see me, not my company logo, and then they follow through me to the company, et cetera. There's a lot of us out there who say people buy from people. They don't buy from companies. And by making sure your photo is actually you, that'd be a good thing. So we'll come back to this, but this picture is not just on your profile. It's seen everywhere on LinkedIn that you go, and I'm going to show you. And you should be going places on LinkedIn, right? You want to be engaging potential teaming partners, engaging potential buyers. So this picture will be out there, and it's part of the three things that pull people back to you. So 3 tips. The first one is the photo. The second one I want to go into is the name. And there's a bunch of things I have related to the name. If you're looking for a job, then I think you should throw down all your certifications in there. Some people do it where it says Neil McDonnell, CISSP, PhD, MBA, SOB. No, different suffix after the name. They throw it in there. Well, that's really important if you're looking for a job. But if you're just selling, it's not necessary, and it becomes a distraction in when your name is somewhere else. It just looks like this long list of I love me acronyms. LinkedIn provides a place down below that can tell everybody how great you are, and you have your PhD or you have your this or that. What they're really looking for basically though is, what is your name? I know somebody out there, I've been waiting to talk to them in person so that I don't offend them, but I noticed they made a mistake and their last name is first and their first name is last. I don't know how they did it, but it's switched around. Other people, one of the things I suggest is consider doing a phonetic spelling of your name. Is it important that people guess how to pronounce your name and keep getting it wrong? Or is it important that they get your name right from the start? And this, I've talked about this before in a whole video, that it's embarrassing to me if I can't pronounce your name. I feel like, such an idiot. I don't know how to pronounce your name. And I'm not one of the linguistics experts out there. I'm linguistically challenged. And, so for me, most names are hard, but I do make the effort. I really want to make the effort because that's an early sign of respect, is that I took the time to learn how to pronounce your name. But if I don't know how to pronounce your name, then I might not even reach out to you because I'm like, is it Shri? Is it CRI or SRI? I don't know how to pronounce a name. I don't want to be embarrassed by potentially, insulting you. So what I'm saying is you can do two things. Right here where it says Neil, I could also just put in parentheses after my first name. It's hard for me to even think how to phonetically spell my own name, but there's ways to phonetically say your name so that it's easy for other people to pronounce it. So if I phonetically did it, I might put parentheses NEE space EL. So it's Neil, right? Kind of down. My twin brother's name is Dion, and it's DION. People are always calling him Dion, which is another way of saying that name. And so for him, I would say, hey, put in parentheses just the letter D and then N, or DEE and then the N. But if you do something like that, it's really helpful. The other thing you can do is right here, you've got this ability to record. If you see next to my name, I've got the little speaker sound. And if I click it, McDonnell. I don't know if you can hear it over streaming that I'm doing here, but it just said my name and I'm able to say it. And somebody can keep coming back, clicking on it and go, what? Neil McDonnell. And so I'm stressing the Mick. But you can say your name slowly and correctly in there, which enables the rest of us to go, I know how to say his name. It's Tim. Got it. Kind of thing. And when you do that, then I feel comfortable calling you. So that's just something to keep in mind is, we sometimes just dismiss our name like, everybody should get it, or it's this. Remember, you want us to know your name. You want us to be able to correctly say your name, and you want us not to be embarrassed so much so that we don't even reach out to you or something. Help us be able to properly pronounce your name, and then get rid of all the extra stuff is my recommendation, especially like things that are unrelated to, the day-to-day activity you might be doing for federal sales and capture. So that's the photo, that's the name. And I'm going to show you where all this comes together, because one other thing I was going to mention with the name is like when you have all this extra stuff after your name, it really begins, LinkedIn is not properly prepared to wrap it all. And so it just looks a mess. So the third one is this is a big one, right? Is your tagline right there. I just highlighted it. Sorry for that cough there. So my tagline is, I help business development and capture professionals win contracts consistently by following a proven process. Government contracting is not a secret. It's just a process. I used to have this reversed a little bit where I said government contracting is not a secret. It's just a process. I'm actually trying to see which one rings true. But either way, what I'm doing is not saying I'm the president of the GovCon Chamber of Commerce, right? That doesn't tell anybody anything. What do you do? What can you do for the other person? And when people see that, they will click through. So if you read mine for a second, it tells you a story. Who do I help? I help business development and capture professionals. What do I help them do? Win contracts consistently. How do I do that? By following a proven process, right? Who, what, how. And that's what I'm recommending you put in place. I have this, chamber motto that I've been saying for 4 years or so, since the end of 2017, is government contracting is not a secret, it's just a process. And so you'll see me put that everywhere because I really want to drive home that what I teach is process. It's not a good old boy system, et cetera. But the real value I was trying to put in here is, if I'm trying to do some other stuff, say I want to sell a course to continue to fund the chamber and all the stuff we do. Well, this is who I'm targeting to sell a course to, is the business development and capture professionals, not the whole world, not anybody else. And so you want to be considering the same thing, getting rid of your job title and putting in a headline. The way you do it, and this is not a training session on LinkedIn today. You can take a course we have on that, but here it's just, if you come up and you click this pencil, you're able to edit this information. And so if you have no headline, LinkedIn just takes your your experience and brings it up, throws it there. President, GovCon chamber. Okay, so those are the three things I wanted to point out, that the photo, the name, and the headline. And I'm going to go through and show you. You see all these tabs up above. I'm going to show you a lot of different places on where they come in handy. One of the things I wanted to point out is how I'm able to tell you. I've been using LinkedIn since 2007. And I used it to build the last company I had. In fact, I built out a whole recruiting process in there that was unique. It wasn't, using LinkedIn to just say, hey, I'm looking for people to hire, but really attract folks. And I built up a following of over 17,000 GovCon related folks out there. And I've spent years and years refining this process that's out there. And the thing that I've learned, and I've also proven, is the value of the photo, the name, and the headline. And so let me go through and start showing you that. And then as you go along, if you have questions, let me know. I'll look at them at the end, and I'll try to save like 5 minutes to answer them. Okay, so first thing I wanted to do is to come over. I was in my profile. I wanted to come over here to a post I did to just show you how this looks. Ignore the post if you can for a second. But first thing you notice is that when I'm doing a post, it doesn't show my whole profile and all this other stuff. I have to go click on it. But right here, it shows a little tagline. I help BD and capture professionals win contract consistently by what, and maybe that inspires somebody to come in and check it out. If you come down and look at this particular document that I had shared, and this was related to DISA, not a lot of engagements at the moment, but if you see the sharing that I do, now if anybody clicks on likes to see, hey, who's liked this, who's commented, you'll notice that now it doesn't end at following, it gives my whole tagline. And notice the difference between mine and some of the ones we'll scroll down through, right? I help BD and capture professionals win contracts consistently by following a proven process. This one actually is a pretty good start, right? Electronic technician with expertise in satellite. This is actually a very good headline, right? It's saying what they're in. Mine's a different approach with those 3 sections, but this person is telling me, Melvin, right away, electronic technician, especially with satellite communication and telecom. So that's a good one. The next one starts with CEO at somewhere. So it's just a follow-up position here. And so here it's saying some things they've done, but what could be helpful is like, what is their expertise? And I think they might be saying it's around, well, actually, I don't know what it is, right? So I'm confused. I'm just moving on, not in any bad way. You can see the next one's just a title. Next one's starts with a title, but then tries to drop in things that might help you see what Hitesh does here with artificial intelligence assistance, IT help desk. So he's got some logos in there. I'm not here to critique people's headlines. It's more about, do they have any headline? Kendrick here, same thing, is starting off with the CEO, which, I would suggest, get rid of that, because right here, next generation geospatial solutioneer, that sounds exciting, interesting. I'm like, what's that? Exploring the endless possibilities of geoscience. If I'm in this world at all, or data management, I'm like, let me go see what Kendrick's doing, right? Or learn more about Kendrick by looking at the profile. Same thing with Allison here, right? Enabling leaders and teams to develop valued techniques and professional skills. How? Through workforce development training programs and service. I feel like she and I went to the same school of headline writing. There's Gus on our team. We kind of have consistency there. And then here's a job title, okay, Demetrius, I know you're listening now or in the replay, but so here he's highlighting the him, but then he gets into what he actually does. We specialize in the logistical areas of transportation, distribution, etc., and we offer medical PPE. I would encourage him to get rid of that whole first two sentences and start off with we specialize in logistical areas, because he and I have been tracking each other back and forth for a while. And I'm just now noticing, logistical areas of transportation. I'm working with a customer who does a ton of work on the logistical areas of transportation. I should ask Demetrius, tell me a little bit more about that so I can see if maybe there's a reason for introducing you. But either way, he's got, after his name and title, he's got some really good stuff that tells me about him. So Molly goes into the same kind of thing as dropping tags. It's in here. There's nothing wrong with having a couple of the tags, but what I don't see is what do you do, right? And that's what I'd like to see in there to be able to see it. Munir, and I've introduced Munir to other teaming partners where he's gotten on teams because of ServiceNow. I would encourage him to rewrite this in a way that pushes ServiceNow to the beginning, because I know his company's experts at that, solid partners in there, really impressive to anybody I ever introduce him to. And so I would constantly be introducing him to ServiceNow, meaning I would want him to get found more and more on LinkedIn when people look at his name and see ServiceNow. And then coming down, you see some of the others. Supporting the Army doesn't tell me what you do now or how you support. This one's a very small one, digital marketer and brand strategist, but it still is there. If I want to find out about it, I can. Coming down, title. Like Gary, I want to see more about what you guys do, right? Take advantage of all the available space. So anyways, that's where that is. And then I want to show you another one that has a lot of engagement. And I've got a bunch open. I'm not sure I'll go through them. But one of the things people do when they come in and they look at these opportunities is, look at LinkedIn. We sometimes end up looking at who else liked something we liked or who commented. And I'm showing you one that has some engagement on the, okay, so here's a Homeland Security one I did. And this one has 65 people engaged. Now, here's another reason why this is important. I just showed you what you look like in the thumbs up, thumbs down engagement approach over on the left-hand side, right? So I got 65 people who engaged a post I did a little while back. And LinkedIn says about 4,000 people came and looked at this post when it was out there, but there's only 4 comments. What happens though, when you have a post like this and this many people are coming, there's a good chance a lot of people are looking at Anne-Marie here and Dawn and Darlene, right? And I wonder if I commented. Yeah, and then there's me. But in here, because all these people are coming, they're able to see the what Anne-Marie does. Unfortunately, it doesn't say like what, right? It just says a job title. But if it said something like, hey, I don't know what they do, and I should apologize, I don't, Anne-Marie, but like, let's say we focus on, artificial intelligence, emerging technologies, et cetera. Well, it might pull them in. Now you got 65 people who've engaged it, also looking at the comments, or you have, or you have these 4,000 people potentially looking at it. And so that's why I want you to pay attention. When I say the photo, the title and the name are really important. This is kind of why I'm saying it. Right when people are looking at the comments, the only things they see about you are those pieces of information. And so then as you go through, it's the same thing on a lot of different areas. I just pulled up a couple of other sites I wanted to show you because let me pull up. So here's one. Let's say you're following or something. This is a Navy-related site in there, and actually, I want to pull up 𝗪𝗔𝗊𝗪𝗔𝗊𝗪𝗔𝗬. Where do I have them? Or here, SIBR and SITR, right? So in here, they've got 1,700 followers. So this many people are perhaps being LinkedIn is pushing out to them that posts are being done on the Navy forum. And so if you come in here, here's this spring 2022 edition of the transition newsletter, right? The Navy forum put it out yesterday, and there's 12 people who liked it, but only one person commented. I'm curious on what the comment is. So here's Dustin, and Dustin is part of the SIBR transition program. So no one else is putting something out there, but he tagged BAE, which is a huge multi-thousands of person company, a couple of key contacts here, and like who's Steve Brennan? So business development consultant. Premier Solutions is some company who's probably helping out in Hawaii. But if you read this article, and I don't mean you read everything out there on LinkedIn, et cetera, but if you read this article and you found something relevant in these 15 pages and you come back and comment, then you're visible to other people who are coming in. And in particular, you're visible to FST, right? The Forum for Cyber Transition. And there's a lot of people out there who will follow. These guys, actually, the people who maintain this site, often engage my stuff because I share Navy stuff often. And so I want to slow down and see if there's any questions, and we can begin to wrap up, because I think I made my point in there. I'm just going to see if, one more thing I wanted to show. So I'm pulling up Paul Puckett, right? He and I are connections, and he's an influencer in the whole federal space from the IT side. He heads up Army Cloud. And in here, he's got his own stuff. And so here you can see that I use cloud a lot because Paul Puckett's actually a really good person engaged on LinkedIn. But if you were trying to track on Paul Puckett and get visibility in there and build relationships with him or the people who follow him, well, you can see that 47 people have engaged his stuff, but only 3 people have commented. Imagine if you took the time to read the article that Paul Puckett thought was important enough to create his own comment. Then you could be able to put a comment in there and make it relevant. And nothing like this, right? Thank you for sharing, etc. But what do you really like about it? Where's the split? And now you're engaging this person who's out there. A side benefit is now you're, if you were looking at NGA, National Geospatial Agency, you would also find a good bit of information that you could go out and tag them as well. So there's a lot of relevant information. But if you came in here and gave a thumbs up or a comment, going to come in here and he's going to look at it. I did a post a couple of weeks back with that, excuse me, that referenced the Department of Defense CIO shop, et cetera. And one of the people who came back and gave me a thumbs up in there was the DoD CIO, the head IT guy in the Department of Defense. And so when he came back and did that, he's seeing the same as Paul. He's just saying, just another human trying to be better. But he would have seen that CIO, and that's why I'm trying to encourage you, when you look at your own profile, make sure your picture is not only a good professional one, but that it's visible. Make sure your name is clear and you take advantage of the sound part, and then also make sure that you have a good headline. So let me go ahead and hide that. I want to. I thought I stopped sharing, but instead what I did is just hid the sharing icon again. If you've been with me this week, I'm just no good at stopping the sharing. So I'm probably going to have to stop here anyways. We're at the end of the time, but I hope you found it valuable. More importantly, I hope you go make the changes and tag me on LinkedIn and tell me you did it. Give it a thumbs up if you liked today's session, and I will see you next time. Remember, government contracting, it's not a secret. It's just a process.